The classic drawing goes back to, and you'll see to the second row down all the way to the left.
Mm-hmm.
That one, that's kind of where all the iterations tend to start. Like most artwork that you'll see, they start there because that was done based on Kathleen May's testimony, because she was appearing on a television show within the first week or two of after the sighting took place.
Mm-hmm. Which was in the 50s, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So 52.
Welcome to Creepalachia. Today is an episode that I am so pumped about. I mean, I'm pumped about all of them, but we are finally talking some West Virginia cryptids. And we have in the studio with us Mr. Andrew Smith. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Doing good. And you are the executive director of the CVB in your area?
Yeah, I'm the executive director of the Braxton County Convention and Visitors Bureau, and also the guy in charge of the Flatwoods Monster Museum.
Heck yeah. And the Flatwoods Monster is what today's episode is mainly going to be about, but also about Andrew and his life too, because that's what we do here. But go ahead and give people some background on your daily life at the museum and how that intertwines with the CVB.
Okay. Well, so we've had the Flatwoods Monster Museum there in downtown Sutton on Main Street since 2018. So I believe that means it's been there. Let's see if I can get my math, 6 years or so, which doesn't feel like it's been that long. But that was a special project of the Braxton County Convention and Visitors Bureau. And for folks that don't know, maybe if they don't know about the Flatwoods Monster, you want me to give a little...
Sure, yeah. So the Flatwoods Monster, first off, is the funnest looking cryptid.
Yes. Yeah.
In my opinion.
Mine too.
In the studio, I have Braxy joining us today. But Andrew's got some show and tell too. So yeah, let's lay it out there. Start at the beginning and let's get the details on this thing.
Okay.
Or her. Him?
Whatever.
Okay.
What a dealer's choice is what I like to say.
Perfect.
But so the Flatwoods Monster was seen in the town of Flatwoods, which is just a few miles north of Sutton, where the museum is, on September 12th, 1952. And it was seen by 7 witnesses, 2 adults and 5 children. And it was seen in the woods of Flatwoods. And the reason why they were in the woods at this point in the evening, it was about 7 p.m. And but the reason why they were even in the woods at all is because the boys were playing at the Flatwoods Elementary School that evening, and with a big group of boys, actually, big group of kids. And while they were playing, they noticed an object fly through the sky and appear to either land or crash, kind of depends on what account you read, on a nearby hilltop, about a half mile away or so. Probably not even that far. So all the kids knew the area pretty well, and a group of them decided they were going to go see what that might have been. So 5 of them took off down the road, and they were headed from the elementary school, which is still in the same place, by the way. They decided to head north along Route 4, and to go up on this hill. And to get to the top of this hill, they actually had to pass 2 of the boys' homes, Eddie and Fred May. They were brothers, and they noticed that their mother was home, so stopped and told their mom what they were into. And the mom thought, well, I better, adult better supervise you, because they are going to jump onto somebody else's property. There was a small farm up on the hill, the Bailey Fisher farm, and you had to cross it to get to the top of the hill. So, and she also grabbed a neighbor who was a cousin of hers, named Gene Lemon, who was I believe he was in the Army, and but he was younger, though. I believe he was 18 or 19.
Right.
And so the group of them go trekking up and cross the Bailey Fisher farm, and on the other side of it, they were walking this path that would eventually take you to the top of the hill, and they noticed movement in the woods kind of to their left. And they turn their one flashlight in that area, and they see this roughly, 10 to 12 feet tall creature or being of some sort in the woods. And it kind of seemed like when they noticed it noticed them. And they immediately, were frightened, as anybody would be, run back down the hill. And I mean, flying, and it was pretty dark at this point. As far as I know, no twisted ankles or anything like that.
Right.
They're scared to death, and they called the local emergency number, and eventually the sheriff and the deputy came down to check it out. But at this point, it was pretty late, and they went up on the hill, but they didn't encounter this, this ominous figure that they did that would come to be known as the Flatwoods Monster.
How did this description happen? Did they give this description, and I'm pulling up random images here across the board. I mean, I would shout out these artists, but I think this is actually that's the one for the Small Town Monsters. Seth Breedlove, he's coming into the studio. So,
is he?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
He's going to come in hopefully in February and tell us all about his cryptid journey.
That's cool. I'll have to check that one out.
And Small Town Monsters, but yeah. So, did they give this description to the police? Did they have a sketch artist, or do you know?
So they gave a description. But when you go and really read the description, there's, I don't want to say there's holes in it, because that makes it kind of sound like, they weren't giving enough information. But, especially when you're talking, kids and people that were surprised and that's not used to giving this sort of stuff, they're going to give the details that stick out to them. But otherwise, there's going to be some spaces you have to fill, especially if you're going to try to render it in some way. But basically the description they gave, like I said, was between 10 and 12 feet tall. And the reason why they got that was there was this tree that the monster sort of appeared either around or beside or just in front of. And there were like the first limb that offshooted off this trunk. It was an oak tree. The first limb was about 12 feet off the ground, and they knew it was under that. So that's where they got the height.
Gotcha.
And then as far as the look of it, they said it had this like round face that appeared to be like red in color with these glowing red eyes, or like eye looking, objects on the face. And then they mentioned this sort of spade shape behind the head that they could make out. And then when they talk about the body, it gets a little bit more vague. I think it was probably because it was dark, because most of them describe it as dark, and it was dark at this time of day. And it kind of varies again between the accounts and when they were written, but it's described as like dark green. It's described as black. It's described as like metallic. And in my mind, all those kind of work, because if you're talking about in the woods when it's dark, say if it's metallic, it would make sense that it would reflect the colors around it, probably green-ish. Or if it's reflecting not much, given wherever somebody's standing, it could be black, that sort of thing. So, so there's really a lot kind of to interpretation, but the classic drawing goes back to, and you'll see to the second row down all the way to the left. That one, that's kind of where all the iterations tend to start. Like most artwork that you'll see, they start there because that was done based on Kathleen May's testimony, because she was appearing on a television show within the first week or two after the sighting took place.
Which was in the 50s, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So 52. And I believe the show that she spoke on, there's kind of some debate. But people say the show that she appeared on was called We the People, but it doesn't seem like anybody can find a recording of that show. So I wonder if that's exactly right, but I'm not really sure. But what I do know is that was at a time when most programs were simulcast on radio and TV, because a lot of people didn't have TV at the time. Right. But for the TV viewing audience, they wanted something visual to show them. So they sat her down with a sketch artist. I believe this is again conflicting. They either sat her down with somebody in New York City where the show was shot, or was somebody in Charleston in preparation for going to the show, one or the other.
I'm going to pick Charleston. Just stay local with it.
Okay.
That's what we'll say.
That'll work.
So this image, that's pretty cool for the 50s. I mean,
Yeah. But you know, like I said, in my opinion, I think she probably gave them plenty to work with, but then also at the same time, they probably needed to fill in some holes, you know, and what they filled it in with, who knows? But this drawing has since become pretty iconic. So, and people love it. So that's why I think most people start there. As an artist myself, this is the inspiration I take.
How would someone find this? Like if someone's listening to the audio only version, how would they find this image?
If you just Google search, Flatwoods Monster, I'm sure it'll come up. If you see something that looks like a draw, especially an image of an old drawing that looks like it maybe has seen some years, maybe has some staining and weathering, that you've probably found it.
Yeah, it looks like kind of like a charcoal pencil type.
Yeah, that's what it is. And also we reproduce what you have here on display. That's actually a 12 by 18 poster that we reproduce that you get with if you come to the museum and buy something. That's part of the. I should have brought you one of those. Oh,
that's man! I'd hang 20 of them in here. If you yeah, that's awesome. So Braxton County, safe to say, is embracing the lore fully.
Yeah,
that is so cool. How many people would you say come, to the museum specifically with the goal in mind of like, okay, I'm going to travel here. I'm going to learn about this cryptid and enjoy the museum. Is there a lot of people that come from out of state that?
Yeah. So we actually track visitation, and last year, I know I have it on our social media. Off the top of my head, I can't remember the exact number, but it was over 11,000 and less than 12 for the calendar year of 2024. But what's funny though is I would say it's a pretty good mix. I would say it's about half out of state, about half in state. That varies, I'd say, with a 20% variation one way or the other.
Sure.
And then I would say it's about 75% people made the plan to visit, and about the other 25%, but I could have that wrong. For all I know, they could be switched. They're driving down the interstate and just see our sign on the interstate attractions board and see the word monster and see that it's only 2 miles off the interstate. So they thought, well, even if it's nothing, we should check it out.
Right.
So we get a lot of that too.
Yeah, that's awesome. And going back here on this, I'm going to talk about the color scheme here. So eventually these pictures start fleshing out and they add some greens and reds.
Yeah.
That was in the initial description too?
Yeah. Yeah, the greens and the reds, and then the shape behind the head, that can kind of vary a little bit, but it's the common thing that's always there is that it was darker. Some people interpret that as a darker red. Some people interpret that as a darker green, some black. So that spade shape
Gotcha.
was darker than the head, which was reported to be red.
Okay. And are we thinking alien, or are we thinking something that lives among us? What?
I think that the common consensus, and I would tend to agree, that if this wasn't merely a misidentification of something conventional, extraterrestrial kind of makes the most sense, because the whole thing started by something coming through the sky. And I guess when I start thinking about odds, I kind of start thinking, well, what are the odds that something weird happens in the sky, and then we also see something on that same hilltop that's also weird, and they're not connected?
Right. Oh, 100% alien. Oh, and it's cool because it kind of looks like the Independence Day alien.
Yeah, I've never seen any documentation on it, but I would not doubt it one bit if they didn't take inspiration, because how many times are you going to make an alien that just looks like a gray?
Yeah.
You got to do something different at some point. But yeah, they're very strikingly similar.
I'm going to look that up because it has like that spade armor type thing about it. And then that's what vibe I'm getting from this. I'm going to take a stab on how to spell Independence Day.
I think you're getting it.
Independence Day alien.
Do you care if I crack a Coke?
Oh yeah, go right ahead. This is the most laid back environment on the planet. All right, so here we go. I think that's from Resurgence.
Oh,
this was the original one, but it was inside of. Oh, dude,
yeah. That, I mean,
look at that
total Flatwoods Monster.
I mean, it's literally the same thing. Let me bring up. I'm going to try and be fancy here and make 2 screens.
And I'll say too, I really love seeing different iterations and artistic liberties taken. There's a lot of purists that get upset when it deviates too far away from what they expect to see when it comes to Flatwoods Monster. But when you see the same thing every day for 6 years, you want to see a little variety.
Yeah. And that's the fun part about cryptids is, because we're going to make an announcement of the cast and crew later this month, but I'm making a Mothman film.
Okay.
And we're kind of taking a serious tone with it.
Mm-hmm.
Which there's been a couple serious looking Mothmans made, but a majority of them are fun, cute cartoons.
Oh yeah,
which are really cool. So I think there's room for all of it because it brings new audiences in. And
oh sure,
like I love what Seth and their artists done here with this design. But yeah, I mean I got them side by side on the screen. It's
it's striking. And it's funny too. So their rendering would have been done. Now, granted, it's based on the what we see as far as Flatwoods Monster description goes, but in time, it would have been done after this one. So it's always kind of fun to see and wonder how much influence bleeds, in and then out and then in and then out.
Yeah. And I mean, which I can't act like I know this for sure, but I never saw this spade type design on anything back in the day, except for this.
Yeah.
I didn't realize the drawing was made in the 50s.
Oh, yeah.
That's really, really cool.
And a cool sort of side note on that drawing is for the longest time, I had always just assumed that drawing was lost to time. And the only thing that I'd ever seen of it were like newspaper reprints of the drawing and things like that. That would have been, understandably would lack a lot of detail.
Mm-hmm.
And then this was like 4 years ago or so, my mom, of all people, shared a post on Facebook from a friend of hers that was a picture of a drawing of the Flatwoods Monster. And as soon as I saw it, I thought that is, as I've been an artist my whole life. And as soon as I saw it, I thought that's like, those are exact proportions. Everything that you would see in the newspaper prints is there, but then so much more detail you can, and it looks right. It's got the right age, that sort of stuff. I was like, that has to be the original poster. So I immediately got a hold of the person that posted it and was like, hey, you don't know me, but you know my mom. I highly recommend you take this post down.
Right.
Two, also highly recommend that this drawing gets really taken care of.
Right.
And then and if I could meet with you, and talk to you, that I would love that. So I got that all worked out, and the drawing now resides in a acid-free frame with all, everything around it's all acid-free. So it's being taken care of.
Awesome. In the museum?
No.
It's not.
It's still in the private collection. There's kind of
okay. Well, you can bring that too if you want. I'll take that.
I would.
That in.
Okay, well, I would love that. But the people that done it though have been really nice, and they've let me. So like if you are ever looking around the internet and you see really good looking pictures of it to where it's in color enough to where it almost looks kind of sepia,
right,
with the black, and then I learned after seeing that the actual light spots in the image were done with a yellow charcoal over top, like a yellow pastel.
Oh, cool.
Probably so that when you take a picture of it, it burns. See that one right there, the third one down to the right.
Third one down.
Or third row down.
This one?
No, down.
Oh, down.
To the left. Right there.
Oh.
That's a picture that I took of the original. So they let me take pictures and reproduce it and all that stuff. So
shoot, yeah.
So they've been, so if you see like a really crisp looking version of what normally would have just been from a newspaper, those probably derive from pictures that I took.
Oh,
and they've been used and repurposed by a lot of people too. And I love seeing it. I think it's great.
Yeah. Looking at some of the artwork, it's just amazing what people tend to do when they have talent. And you mentioned you're an artist. I didn't realize that. When what type of artwork do you do?
Well, so I've just drawn, ever since I could hold a pencil. I drew before I knew how to write. The first word that I knew how to spell, maybe beside my first name, but even maybe before my first name, was the word turtle, because I drew Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles all the time, and you had to draw the logo. So
cool.
So you had to draw a turtle,
Yeah.
and I'd have my mom write Teenage Mutant Ninja because I couldn't do that.
What year were you born?
85.
Oh, dude, yes.
So
I was 85 too. So
okay.
Ninja Turtles was life.
Oh yeah, big time.
Oh my.
So I've just been drawing for forever, and I ended up going to college at Fairmont State and focusing on painting and sculpture, but mostly from life or still life work. So I kind of want to say realism, but not really, because whenever you look at the stuff, I leave a lot of evidence of whether I'm sculpting or painting. It's obvious you're looking at a painting, sculpture. It's so it doesn't get refined. I try to keep it to where you still see all the slop.
Right. Do you have your portfolio somewhere online?
The closest thing to that would be, mainly because it's never been that needed for me. But the closest thing would be if you're on Facebook and type in Andrew Smith artist, you might find. I think there's some stuff.
See what we can find.
And the profile picture is me, so that's not me.
That's not you.
No.
Okay, Flatwood. Nope.
You might be better off going over to
people.
No, it'd probably under pages.
Pages.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what we got here.
That's me. Top.
Oh,
one.
yep. Top.
Yep, very top.
Got it. All right. Let's look what we got. Oh, dude.
Now this I did this on what's it called? Procreate.
Oh, cool.
I've gotten into Procreate over the last couple of years.
I've heard some things about that. What is Procreate?
It's incredible. It's such a powerful tool, and you basically make the work the same way you would do if you were drawing or painting, depending on just what kind of brush textures you pick.
Mm-hmm.
And then you use like a pencil on an iPad, like not a real pencil, an iPencil, and depending on how hard you push and that sort of stuff, it changes, it varies. So it's super cool. But then if you make a mistake, just undo.
Yeah.
Yep. But like if you go up to my background photo, that's probably the thing I'm most proud of.
Them skills.
That was the last painting that I ever did in college, and I was really into only working directly from life and setting up my environment to where I could get the end results that I wanted without quote unquote cheating or cutting corners, which I don't worry about cheating or cutting corners now.
Right.
But so like I got myself really close to that. So I did a series of paintings all with mannequins.
Oh, cool.
So I got really close to this, but had a giant, that painting is probably 5 feet tall.
Oh, cool.
And put a paintbrush, taped it to a dowel, and had the canvas a good ways away from me. So I like worked, my canvas was like 5 feet away, but the mannequin was like this close.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just kind of the whole thing was a feat. And I absolutely loved it. Bad thing though is when I left college, this was the last thing I worked on. It was still wet when I left.
Yeah.
And so I put it up in a drying rack, and my plan was to like come back within a couple weeks and come pick it up. And I didn't make it back in a couple weeks. So by the time I did come back, it's gone.
Oh.
So if anybody knows where this is.
No way. A 5 foot tall painting?
Yeah, it's gone.
They just out. Someone has it in their living room.
So if somebody is in the Fairmont area, sees this painting, please tell me. Contact the Flatwoods Monster Museum.
Yeah, and for the audio crew, we're looking at a close-up of and this was a mannequin smiling like this, and it has glasses on, and it looks like the lighting is going upward.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love the lighting on it. That's super cool. What was this? This was pastels? Or?
No, that's oil paint.
Oil painting. Okay, that's my favorite.
Yeah.
Oil's my favorite. Yeah, man, you've got some serious skills. You done this in Procreate too?
No.
Or,
this was I've
this
ended
was
up
someone else.
I ended up I've posted all sorts of junk on this. For a while I was in an Illustrator contest that was being held through Instagram, but I would just have all the stuff poured over into Facebook.
Yeah.
So there's a whole lot of that stuff that's on it now. But my main focus before, like while I was in college, when I was more serious about an academic, was just mostly oil painting was my big one.
Oil is by far my favorite, but which I love. Like Nicole Suptic, who was just on, she does a lot of colored pencil realism stuff, and it's just insane. But yeah, this is great. Well, we got other things too. There's is this chair that I saw? Let me go back and find it. I saw like a lawn chair or something that someone made. Flatwoods Monster Museum. How many artists do you have coming by the museum to check it out?
A decent amount, because people leave us stuff all the time. So like if someone has made prints of a piece, they'll give it to us to try to find a place to sock it. We've kind of run out of room, so it's not as easy now to put stuff up as it used to be. Right. But yeah, that's usually what they're doing.
Is this at the town of? Hang on, let me get rid of some of this stuff. I got so many windows.
Sorry about my chair squeaking.
Oh no,
I just want people to know that
thing squeaks.
Or that's not me farting.
That thing squeaks constantly. This is in the town.
Yeah. So there's 5 Flatwoods Monster chairs all over the county, but that one in particular is in the town of Flatwoods, right beside their municipal building. But they're 10 feet tall chairs that are 4 feet wide. They're all built roughly the same, but each one has a little bit different paint job. And I did all the paint jobs on those.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Then there's
super fun.
There's what all? So give me a description of the museum. So I come to the museum, I walk in, take me through it. What all do I see?
Okay. Well, I mean, you kind of end up seeing just a big collection for the most part. Excuse me.
Oh, you're good.
So like when you come into the left, there's a big bar that's been there for a really long time, where they would do like sodas and ice cream and stuff like that, because the building originally was a pharmacy and a general store.
Oh, cool.
Going back to 1910.
Right.
So most of what was original, at least as far as whenever we got a hold of the building, is all still there. Right. So we tried to do our best to work around what was already there rather than remodel and all that stuff. So that way the history of the building stays intact. But down through, once you pass, so you can kind of see the bar sticking out or in that window there, the beginning of the bar. And then it goes back a little.
Oh, yeah. I see. Okay.
But then to after that, there's just a whole wall of displays that have all sorts of stuff that relate to the Flatwoods Monster. There's like different artist renderings. There's things that go back sort of historical as far as like newspapers and things like that. There's in the display we have a chunk of that tree that I was telling you about. Not too long after the sighting, that tree actually sort of died. And I'm assuming still in the process of decomposition if it's not all the way gone.
Oh, cool. So you have an actual chunk of the tree.
Yeah. So I have a chunk of the tree on display there. So just basically a bunch of displays that have to do with the Flatwoods Monster or sort of the cultural impacts of the Flatwoods Monster as well.
Oh, cool. Have you been there since the beginning?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So who initially had this idea of starting this museum in the middle of town? Was there a CVB that existed, or was that formed and then this built around it? Or
no? So I've been the executive director of the CVB in Braxton County for 12 years.
Nice.
And so we had an office elsewhere in the county, and I'll be honest, the majority of the people that I'll start off with saying not very many people walk through the doors. I think mainly because our museum also doubles as a visitor center. But I don't think visitor centers are utilized as much as they would have been at one time, just because it's just so easy to make plans on your phone, that sort of thing. So you can kind of figure out what you're doing before you get there most of the time. I don't want to discredit all of them or anything like that, but so very few people.
Yeah, we are. Let's punk them down. All y'all CVBs, you got nothing on Braxton County. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
but a lot of the people that were coming in, the reason why they were coming in was to ask, what can I do that has to do with this Flatwoods Monster? Because especially at the time, there really wasn't anything to do.
Right.
So, and to the Flatwoods Monster fans and these cryptid fans, it's such a big deal to them. They couldn't believe that there wasn't something dedicated to it. So just after years of hearing that and seeing that, it just kind of became obvious that it would be, something that people would be interested in. But really the thing that pushed it over the edge was Jeff Wamsley, who runs the Mothman Museum. I'd kind of come to know him a little bit. And I just saw him I think it was in Point Pleasant, and he said, "When's there going to be a Flatwoods Monster Museum down there?" And I distinctly remember telling him, like, I don't know. It's like, there's some interest in it for sure, but would there be enough to worry about fooling with that? He said, yeah. I said, really? He said, yes. There's people that come in here every day. I see the interest. And he's like, we sell, we sell Mothman stuff, but we sell Flatwoods Monster stuff and things like that. He said, all that stuff sells. He said, so there's got to be interest.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the Mothman Museum. It's kind of their responsibility that we took the plunge and decided to establish it. And it's been, it's been great. It's the reception's been way better than I would have ever guessed.
Oh yeah, and the Mothman Museum is a perfect example of what can happen, because I think they have over 10,000 people come to the festival.
Yeah,
every year.
Yeah.
Have you thought about firing up? Is there like a Flatwoods Monster Festival? Or
there's a Flatwoods Monster Convention, and different celebrations having to do with the Flatwoods Monster have kind of been, conceived, started, and dropped over the years by many different people. And currently we got a run of 2 years of a Flatwoods Monster Convention that takes place up at the Days Inn. And it's kind of it's right off the Flatwoods exit. So it's kind of all encompassing, paranormal con with a focus on the Flatwoods Monster.
Yeah,
but I actually don't have anything to do with it. I learned a long time ago that I don't need to be involved in event planning, because there's just so many moving pieces, and it ends up occupying, if you want to do a good job, it just ends up occupying every day, all the time. And say you sink the majority of it, like a half a year of your time and effort into what would essentially be like one day or one weekend event. And if it doesn't go, you've sunk a lot of resources and time into something. So I've always sort of let other people handle that, but at the same time, encourage them and do whatever I can to help and promote it, obviously promote the heck out of it, but I don't run it specifically.
Right. Yeah. And is there a statue there, or is it just the chair, which the chair is awesome?
Yeah. The chairs kind of act like a statue, because we looked into getting statues made. I even was lucky enough to reach out and talk to the gentleman that made.
Oh, who made this? The Mothman statues?
Off the top of my head, I can't remember.
Yeah.
I talked to him probably 8 years ago, maybe more. Because I thought it'd be really cool to have a Flatwoods Monster one made in like the same style.
Yeah.
But another place to where it's almost like a sister statue. And he was really into it, but he had two things going against him at the time. One, so these are all made out of stainless steel, and the Mothman one is the really famous one in Point Pleasant. But in Point, there's actually, I don't know, like 5 to 10 other stainless steel statues all over the place that have to do with different things about the town. Yeah. And the same guy made all those.
And they got a Mothman pizza.
Yeah.
That is great, but they just take olives and build this Mothman and then put 2 big cherry tomatoes on it for the eyes. Yeah, it's pretty insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's cool.
But yeah, he couldn't get the stainless steel anymore, and he was pretty sick at the time, and not too long after that, he passed away.
Oh, he passed away?
Yeah.
R.I.P. Mothman statue guy. I have to find out his name. I'm gonna Google that real quick. Who made the Mothman statue? Just to see if we get lucky here by any chance. Which this isn't Google. This is Bing. This is garbage.
You're binging?
I'm binging, man.
Binging it up.
I ain't doing this. This is terrible. All right, let me go Google I only want one corporate overlord, and it is Google. Sculptor Bob Roach.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, Bob, R.I.P. Let's make sure he's passed away. He's passed away.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain.
Okay.
I mean, unless
we'll
I
just
got
go
bad
with that.
intel.
We'll go with that. And if you're alive, Bob, I love you, bruh.
Yeah,
But-
same.
Yeah. But if you're
And if you're kicking, reach back out. Let's
Yeah.
get the statue made.
shoot, yeah,
But-
and I keep on having ads pop up. How professional on my backdrop. So you start this building. You find the building. Did you have to renovate the building, or was it ready
No,
to just start moving things?
It was good. I mean, but like I said, it had the bones of a pharmacy and a general store. So, but we just worked around that as best we could, and we try to make everything I try to turn every bug into a feature.
Right.
So yeah, the only thing really we did and it worked out. So we were looking for a new building. We ended up finding this one, and we worked out a deal, and it just so happened that the former tenants were leaving the month before we wanted to come in. So the transition was real smooth. So all we had to do was really go around and sort of wipe off everything and bring all of our stuff in. It only just took a couple weeks.
How'd you source the initial materials? Like, did you have a bunch of stuff just laying around like, oh, this will look cool in there?
Yeah, well, so I had some already because at our former office location, this was years ago. I was probably maybe my second or third year as the CVB director. That we just had this glass case that was in the back of our building forever. That was just nobody ever used it. So I moved it up to the front of the building where it was kind of an empty space, and just put some Flatwoods Monster stuff in it. Because like I said, all these people came in and they wanted to see something Flatwoods Monster related in Flatwoods, West Virginia.
Right.
So they would come and scope it out. And pretty soon word of like the hardcore Cryptid people got out that we had this collection we had started. And then it just like a magnet, stuff just started like coming to it. I would say the majority of our collection were things that just showed up, or like somebody made us aware of like, hey, have you ever heard of this or this? And
right.
I said, no, let's try to find one. So, between loans and gifts and, sleuthing on eBay, that's pretty much how we got everything that we have.
Heck yeah. And one of my favorites is this Blinko piece. Is this Blinko?
That's Blinko.
Yeah, they made a amazing Flatwoods Monster blown glass. Do they still sell this, or was it a limited run?
Well, so their plan was to sell like 2,000 of them, but it was such a big hit, they kept making them until they got around 8,000, and then they quit. So you can't get them anymore. And they started out with a retail price of, I want to say like around 130 or something like that. And now you can't touch them for less than, $500-$700.
Yeah. It's
crazy.
Beautiful. I'd love to, if anyone wants to mail one of those to the show, PM me. I will send you my address.
And that was designed in partnership with Morgantown artist Liz Pavlovic.
Yeah, she's coming on.
Oh, great.
Yeah, Liz is coming on. And
she's great.
That gets us to another thing, which is the commercial we shot.
Yes.
Nearly, has it been 2 years?
I think when you first reached out to me to be on the show, you mentioned that, and I thought surely not. But I'm pretty sure, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So I brought up a picture here. We'll show you that you have a fully customized Flatwoods Monster costume.
Yeah, sure do.
And this is a cartoon version of it, but this will kind of give you an idea of what it looks
we
like.
took, that's a picture of me just wearing the costume, and then I put it into, but the woods that's set in, that's the woods where the sighting took place.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
The actual woods.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have the GPS points to get there?
I do, but I always like to caveat, and I'll tell people where it took place. And I don't have to tell you, it's pretty easy to find out. You can figure it out online.
Sure.
But I always like to remind people that took place on private property. Even the road leading up to the location is privately owned and maintained. There's not even a place to pull off once you get up the road.
Yeah.
You're either staying on the road or pulling into someone's driveway. and they don't like that.
Private property, stay off, you psychos.
Stay off private property.
Yeah,
and mainly because now all those people hate my guts.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, it's like
because I've made it more popular.
Who are all these people?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't go there.
Like we were already sick of people. Now we're extra sick of people.
Yeah, save Andrew's guts. Stay home. I mean, don't stay
please.
home, but come to the museum.
Yeah, come to the museum.
Yeah,
and like drive past it. Go near the. What's really cool, I think it's cool. So even though you can't go to right where the sighting took place, I mean, it is not far. I mean, it's just you can stand on the 2-lane road and look, and I mean, you look right up the hill. I mean, you're still pretty daggone close. You're a lot closer than you're ever going to get to Area 51,
right?
And then you can go check out like where the elementary school is, like I was telling you about earlier. And it's just, I think it's super neat to go there and see like, dude, they were playing here and then they went that way and then they went up that hill. Like you can literally follow in the witness's footsteps.
Oh, it is awesome.
Yeah.
So when did you have an idea like, I'm going to make this thing?
You mean the suit?
Yeah.
Well, I'll be honest. If I could go back in time, I kind of regret ever making it because it was built to fit me. So
Right.
that means I have to wear it. So if you ever see it walking around, I'm wearing it. But yeah, when did we got that made before the museum was even established in Sutton? But it was made by. In fact, I'll just.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I brought the head.
Yeah, we got some show and tell,
Got a
people.
little bit of show and tell.
While you're doing that,
Not too much away from the.
no, you're fine. Go ahead. While you're doing that, I'm going to bring up the commercial that we'll watch here in a minute.
My assumption was that you were a large.
Hey, how'd you know? Yeah, I got it. Oh, that's perfect. I got to have large so I can make my guns look a little bigger. This is, oh, dude. Oh, man, this is awesome. That's so perfect, especially being 80s.
Yeah. Yeah.
Braxton, Mothman, Beavis, and Butthead. I didn't even know this existed.
Yeah.
Dude, that is great. And they have a West Virginia and a Marshall shirt on.
Oh, yeah.
So fun.
Yeah, we sell that. Actually, that's one of our
Sweet.
pieces.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm going to wear that next show.
So this was made by, I wanted to get it out so I could tell, like, give him proper dues. Del Morton Studios. He makes mascots. He's based out of Hurricane, West Virginia.
Yeah.
And
I think
believe
I
it or
talked
not,
to him.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, to get a mascot made, if you go looking around the internet of places to get one made, you'll find Dale, and then you'll find like for a handful of firms, and they're all based out of Canada.
Right.
I don't know why. You can't, but anyway, so we had Dale make ours. He's the same guy that made if you've seen the Mothman one that they walk around like during Mothman Fest.
Right.
He made that as well.
It's more, is it silicone based?
I think that one's latex.
Latex.
It's more, I think that one's a little bit more monstery. And this one, I wanted it to be a little bit more like a walking plush. I wanted it to be like the not scare kids was the main thing I was going for.
And while you talk about the initial design, I'm going to hold it and show the people on the big camera there.
Okay.
Real careful.
No, I've dropped it a couple times.
Check that out. That's crazy awesome. And it has the full outfit with it.
Yeah, oh yeah. No, I don't have it. I just brought the head.
Yeah, just the head today. But so
I could wear it during the rest of the interview, but you probably couldn't hear me very well.
Right, it'd be a little tough. So you said Liz designed it, or
no? It was basically we just worked back and forth with Dale a little bit.
Okay.
And I wanted it to pretty closely match the original drawing,
right.
But still be human enough proportions for me to wear it and for it to make sense, and also still look kind of. It doesn't look cute, but you know what I mean. Look more approachable.
Sure.
But no, it's basically based off of that original drawing for the most part. But Dale did it for us from the ground up.
How long did it take him?
I feel like not very long.
Yeah.
But it's been a while. Like I said, I want to say we got it maybe in 2015 or 16. So it's hard for me to remember.
And he that's his job, right?
That's what he does.
And let me look his
Dale Morton.
And
then like mascot.
See if we got mascot costumes.
Yep.
Give him a little plug here. So, like, he made the Marshall Thundering Herd costume.
Oh yeah, he makes all sorts of stuff, and it's fun. I follow him on Facebook, and he's always putting like like updates on projects he's working on.
Sure,
he does cool stuff.
Yeah, this looks pretty awesome. So he's got custom mascot costumes. He's got, but the styles too was this off the shelf mascot. So he has certain things that can be produced with stuff he already has. Several options.
Oh,
custom masks. Oh wow,
that's Ferengi.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah,
I hadn't saw that one before. That's neat.
Yeah, I'm gonna look up the. I saw the Mothman when you were talking about.
Yeah,
the Mothman costume. Let's see what we got here. Ooh.
That down and then to the right.
Right there.
One?
Yep, there.
Yeah, that's the Mothman museums.
Okay, and what's it? I talked to the museum guy, and he was really nice. He actually introduced me to Dale, I believe, and I called Dale because we originally the commercial we was gonna try and get a custom ones made, and I was like, it's probably not gonna be feasible.
No,
in the timeline we had,
right?
But yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah, awesome. That was super fun. By the way, I really liked doing that. And I liked working with you on that. So when you reached out to do this, it was a no-brainer.
Yeah. I'm gonna while this ad plays in the background for some random food establishment, I'm gonna look up. I'm gonna look up the commercial here. I know it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got. Little General. Oh, cryptids. Yeah, I'm gonna put cryptids on there.
There.
Yep, there it is. Okay, so I'll play this here in a second.
13,000, not bad.
Heck yeah, son.
People
loved it.
Also wanted to give you this too.
Oh, more gifts. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Let's see. Previously, Nicole brought a gift, and I was like, Nicole, you're the favorite guest. Well, she's been replaced. Now there are two favorite guests. This one, I feel like is going to be, heck yeah. Do y'all make these?
No, we don't make them, but we have them made by a ceramic studio in Marietta, Ohio.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's going to go right here next to my Mothman.
There you go.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, that's so cool. All right, so let's. I'm gonna turn on the commercial here. Let's get it going.
It's been a while since I've watched this. This will be fun for me too.
Yeah, let me. And the shout out Little General Stores. This is their commercial. I'm going to make it full screen here so people can watch. All right.
In a world where cryptids emerge from the shadows, meet Mothman and their enigmatic companion, a Flatwoods Monster. They are on a quest for sustenance and secrets. At Little General Stores, Mothman holds the power. The LG Rewards app. The cryptids have found the treasured feast. Little General Stores for snacks that are otherworldly. Find out more at lgstores.com.
And those actors, they were actually employees. They that
was so great. Boy, we really put things upside down at that store that day, didn't we?
Yeah, it was awesome. And we shot one. We did a Hunger Games parody this year.
Oh yeah,
and we did set off one fire alarm, but
oh no.
Nothing caught on fire actually. So let me see. I think we got a minute long version. Let me go. Let me find that minute long version because there's a few things that happen there that are a little cool. Let's see. LG Stores. I know it's on their Facebook. I also want to see. I know it got a lot of shares. Hang on. Bear with me, people. All right, Little General Stores. Go to videos. Okay. Take me a little scrolling here. But yeah, I was looking. I was like, well, let me see on their Facebook when we actually made it. And it definitely wasn't last Halloween. And it I think it was the year before last.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, here's the minute-long one.
In a world where cryptids emerge from the shadows, meet Mothman and their enigmatic companion, a Flatwoods Monster. They are on a quest for sustenance and secrets. At little general stores, Mothman holds the
And that's
power.
Liz playing
the LG
Mothman.
Rewards app.
Yeah.
What they find
Those are my New
inside
Balances
will
that were
blow
sticking out the
their
bottom there.
extraterrestrial minds. The West Virginia famous pepperoni roll and sweet nectar of the mountains. The cryptids have found the treasured feast. Their hunger will no longer remain hidden, like their identities. But beware, in this realm of meals and deals, you may not turn back. Little general stores for snacks that are otherworldly. Find out more at lgstores.com.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
that's
was
great.
Tons of fun. And it just all came together, thankfully, because I was like, well, I wonder if these things exist. And then I slowly found out, like, oh, they do exist. And not only that, they're awesome. Because Liz, her outfit, the eyes glow, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's absolutely
And
perfect.
she made all hers, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think she did. Yeah. How did y'all meet?
Me
'Cause
and
y'all
Liz?
knew each other.
Yeah. I think real early on, my guess is I bet I was talking about the old location before we were really the Flatwoods Monster Museum.
Right.
I think I probably met her then. She probably just walked in and we probably had a chat and just slowly, like, like we sell some of her merch and stuff like that. So I've known her for so long, it's hard for me to really know how I met her.
That's cool. Yeah, she's so talented. I'm going to talk to her because she did the paranormal trails
Yeah.
artwork for
Yeah.
tourism, and isn't she known as the Cryptid Queen or something like that? I've heard
I
a
wouldn't
couple
doubt
people
it.
call her. Yeah. So very pumped to talk to Liz. The museum now, like, what is your daily life like? Do you work the museum, or do you kind of promote tourism in the county, or what's the goal?
Both.
Okay.
So the museum, like I said, also doubles as the visitor center.
Right.
And so any average weekday, if you come in there, I'm probably the one working. So so I work in there, and if you come in and need help with something, I help you. If you want to buy something, I sell it to you, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But also my office is in the back, so I'm back there, designing, county rat cards and stuff to be printed and distributed, all over, fielding stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just we handle a lot of Braxton County promotion, but then, the Flatwoods Monster is such a key element to it because it's a thing that only we have. So, it's kind of our calling card.
Yeah. That's awesome. Hey, and I know some CVBs. Is there a lot of lodges in Braxton County? Isn't it? There's like a hotel motel tax and
Yep.
stuff like that people pay to fund the CVBs.
Yeah. So if you stay just about anywhere in the country, you'll probably notice that if you spend the night in a hotel, if your hotel room, if they told you it was $100, well, by the time you're done, it'll be at least $112 because there'll be a 6% sales tax. And then at least in our area, there's a 6% hotel motel tax. So, not to get too boring, but
No,
eventually,
that's interesting.
eventually at the end of that, that's what funds the Convention of Visitors Bureau. And then, and most counties have them. But I mean, obviously, if you live in a county where there are no hotels, the funding probably isn't there to have it.
Sure.
But yeah, so so everybody that spends the night, at any of our establishments, they help to eventually fund, promoting Braxton County to where, more people come and stay.
Yeah. What's the typical demographic, like tourist that comes to Braxton County? What are they here doing usually?
Well, as far as the ones that I see, the people that are interested in this kind of stuff, and they also tend to dovetail into the folks that are really interested in checking out someplace that's like a really West Virginia, location, because I always like to say, like, it's hard to get more West Virginia than the middle, and Braxton County is in the middle of the state. But that tends to be like, I don't know, 25 to 45 for that particular demographic.
Mm-hmm.
But then we also have, the two lakes, the Sutton Lake and the Burnsville Lake, and they've got, docks and, fishing and boat rentals and all that stuff there too. So that sort of brings people into, and then that's kind of a pretty mixed folks there. But we actually get a lot of people, it seems like, that come up to our lakes from like the southern part of the state, like in the Charleston area and things like that. So
right.
I don't really know that there's a typical visitor, since the interests vary, quite a bit.
Sure. Well, and two, if you're wanting, there's a really good documentary about the Flatwoods Monster out there, made by Seth Breedlove, who we mentioned is coming on the show. Small Town Monsters made, so it goes through all the lore, which I'll definitely ask him about. I think I'm not sure how many documentaries he's made. He's made several. He's done all the big ones. There's Braxy, there's Mothman, there's one that's like a Wolfman type thing.
Yeah.
I can't remember what.
I think he's done a few. It seems like the Bigfoot and the Dogman stuff sort of gray and mix and that sort of thing. But it seems like he mostly covers Bigfoot and Bigfoot-like things as far as his main topics.
Right.
I'll let him talk about
was
that.
Bray County something?
Bray Road Beast.
Bray Road
Yeah,
Beast. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, cool. Well, check that out, people. Andrew, anything left?
Well,
tell someone, what's it like growing up in West Virginia? When people judge us, Andrew, and they don't know that we are artists, we make amazing paintings that are so good that people want to steal. What do we tell them?
I think that the kind of the stuff that we're doing, I mean, me and you and all the other people we've mentioned are doing a lot to shed light on breaking stereotypes, because most of the stereotypes that people would have in West Virginia at this point would have to be at least 150 years old, and who knows if they were even ever true to begin with. Yeah. So
Andrew came to my house with shoes on.
Yeah, sure did, and then took them off by the front door.
Took them off at the front door. I didn't even say anything. I was like, hey, I was prepared for him to just walk through, and he took them off.
No way. No, the house was too nice. I wouldn't do that.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. It. But talking about West Virginia, I just think I think in a lot of ways we're a misunderstood people. We're a highly independent people. I think we for the most part are fairly friendly. But then also you can offend us kind of quick if you want to as well. It's pretty easy to get on our bad side if you want to. I feel like, I don't know.
Oh, yeah. The media.
Maybe I shouldn't even say that, but
no.
True.
It's well, we're so used to the media coming in and being negative about our people, and we care about it. A lot of times people get things wrong, and even the stereotypes aren't correct.
No.
I mean, there are, of course, there's bad things everywhere, but even those type of down home people, they'll be the first to change your tire. They'll be the first to offer you something to eat. Yeah. Yes.
I think when first meeting, I feel like we give everybody leeway, give everybody any sort of, we'll definitely hold judgment, but it seems like too, when you give us a reason to not help you anymore, you're going to get it real quick.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But I think we're friendly, we like strangers. We like talking to, to new people. And so, like my stepdaughter was just telling me she goes to Glenville State University in Glenville, and my dad goes to almost every one of them just because he can. And she was telling me that the whole game he'll watch them, and that he goes to all these games, but he barely ends up watching them because he just stops and sees everybody he knows and stops and talks to them for 20 minutes or so about God knows what. Yeah. And then keeps walking. So, I just think in general, we're a friendly people and eager to make friends.
Heck yeah. And the cryptid capital of the world.
Yeah,
there's nowhere that has as many cryptids as we do.
No.
So bow down to the Cryptid Hills, and be sure to visit and eat Tudor's Biscuit World.
Absolutely, eat Tudors.
Do you know there's one in Florida?
No,
There's one in Florida.
I want one in Braxton County.
I'm gonna have to look this up because I heard this the other day, and I was like, "There ain't no way." But yeah, they said there was a Tudor's in Florida,
I
and
bet
that's
you the
where,
guy that owns Tudors probably vacations in Florida and got one set up.
Well, that's there's a lot of snowbirds.
Yeah.
That
Before I leave this area, I pass one Tudors not too long coming in. So when I go back out, that's where I'm eating supper.
shoot, yeah, it says Tudor's Biscuit World in Panama City, Florida.
That's wild.
So if you're near Florida, be sure to check that out. That's our go-to staple in West Virginia. And until then, be sure to subscribe to Creepalachia on YouTube, TikTok. Follow our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Be sure to review your experience. That will help the show get found. And also, be happy, people. Dive into the cryptid lore and take, these election just happened. Everyone is just tense. Everybody's got a lot of tension. Just loosen up. Have fun. Enjoy cryptids. And also, long live Appalachia.